Today, we delve into the enigmatic tales of the lost legions of ancient Rome. We will explore three of the most mysterious stories: the fate of the legions of Crassus, the disappearance of Legio Novena Hispana in Britain, and the legendary martyrdom of the Theban Legion. Join us to discover the secrets behind these legendary Roman legions. The fate of Crassus's legions. In 53 BC, Marcus Licinius Crassus, a member of Rome's first triumvirate, mobilized 7 legions, about 42,000 soldiers plus auxiliary forces, to confront the Parthian Empire on the Roman eastern frontier. Crassus, obsessed with surpassing the other members of the triumvirate, Pompey and Julius Caesar, sought to emulate the conquests of Alexander the Great himself in the Persian Empire. But without proper planning, his journey ended in one of the greatest disasters in the history of Rome, giving rise to the expression crass error to refer to serious blunders. Crassus faced the Parthian troops at the Battle of Carrhae, commanded by Serena. The legion suffered a crushing defeat, as Crassus made several tactical errors and his army was tricked, surrounded, and finally massacred by the Parthians. Serena ordered his head and right hand to be cut off as trophies for King Orodes II, albeit after pouring molten gold down his throat as punishment for the Romans' unbridled greed. More than half of the Roman army failed to see the new day. Some 10,000 Romans managed to escape and regroup in Syria, and a similar portion of soldiers were captured by the Parthians. It was the latter who gave rise to the legend. According to Pliny, they were sent to the region of Margiana, between present-day Afghanistan and Turkmenistan, to protect the eastern frontier of the Parthian Empire from attack by the Huns. Emperor Augustus tried to negotiate their repatriation 30 years later, but by then not even the Parthians knew their fate. Horace determines that they settled in that territory, although there is no evidence either of this or of how many legionaries survived the long march of 2,500 kilometers to that land. In 1957, a new theory emerged from the American Homer H. Dubs. After analyzing the Chinese chronicles of the Haohan Shu, a book of the later or Eastern Han Dynasty, which includes the account of the campaign conducted by the governor of the western regions of the Han Empire in 36 BC. According to Dubs, the legionaries were sent to the Alexandrian city of Margiana, now Merv, but later became mercenaries for the Huns under Gezi, who ordered the construction of a fortress near the Talas River between Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan to control trade along the Silk Road. The Han attacked the fortress with 40,000 men, and their account of the siege mentions that it was protected by a double wooden palisade around the wall, typical of Roman legions. Today, however, we know that the Huns used up to 4 palisades in their fortress at Ivolginsk. On the other hand, it is said that more than 100 infantrymen practiced military drills in the Yulin Chang, fish-scaled formation. Dubs interpreted this as the testudo of the Roman legions, although there are records that such a formation was used by the Chinese as early as the first millennium BC and identified with the Greco-Sogdian mercenaries. The report to the Han Emperor mentions the capture of 145 soldiers who relocated within Han territory to protect their border against Tibetan incursions, founding the city of Jelaijai, originally called Lykion, the name the Chinese gave to the Roman Empire. Although the Chinese often confused Rome and Egypt, identifying them as a single empire through the latter, with which they connected trade routes. It is hard to imagine that a Roman would have given that name to his city. Moreover, the Han only allowed the settlement of partially Sinicized barbarians, or in other words, those with some understanding and assimilation of their language, which the Roman legionaries would not have been, and never in such small numbers to form a city. In the 2000s, population studies were conducted, and it was discovered that part of the population had Caucasian genetic traits, but they did not match those of southern Europe, but rather those of Mongolians and Uyghurs, who have Caucasian ancestry. Therefore, this epic in which the legionaries traveled more than 5,000 kilometers in about 20 years is based only on circumstantial evidence that archaeology has been unable to confirm. Even so, it is not impossible, but a mystery to be solved. The disappearance of the 9th Legion. The Legio Novena Hispana mysteriously disappeared in Britain in the early 2nd century. The last reliable mention of the 9th was in the year 108, when it was listed in a document found in York, England. Since then, there have been many theories, speculations, and legends. After fighting under Julius Caesar in Gaul and the Civil Wars, in the wars against the Cantabrians, where it was decisive and received the title of Hispana, awarded by Augustus, or in the war in Mauritania under Emperor Tiberius, the 9th Legion had already established itself as the most successful of the empire before taking part in the campaign of Britannia, sent by Emperor Claudius. There he confronted the rebel queen Boudica and took part in the construction of the fortress of Ebucarum, now York, to contain the northern tribes. Shortly afterwards, both legionaries and auxiliaries, some 10,000 men, disappeared completely from the records. From then on, nothing is known with certainty about the fate of these men, and various theories have emerged. The most widely accepted theory is that the unit had to march north between 119 and 120 to confront the Picts of Caledonia, now Scotland, or the Brigands, who still opposed Roman occupation. All that is known for certain is that Emperor Hadrian decided to abandon the conquest of Britain, establishing the 6th Victrix Legion at Ebucarum to replace the 9th, and ordering the construction of Hadrian's Wall to defend Roman territory. It may be that the 9th was erased from the records after suffering a catastrophic defeat or being annihilated, although this need not necessarily have happened, as it was common for some legions to cease to be recorded without explanation, as happened with the 22 Deiotarien, which operated in Egypt and the Middle East and whose end is also unknown, either disbanded or annihilated in battle against the Persians or in putting down rebellions. On the other hand, there are no previous references to damnatio memoriae or condemnation to oblivion in the military field, not even in the crushing defeat of Varus's 3 legions by the Germans at Teutoburg. There are no archaeological remains or sources confirming a campaign into northern Britain, let alone a significant disaster. On the opposite, 2 seals of the 9th were found that could imply their relocation to Noviomagus, present-day Nijmegen in the Netherlands, to reinforce the frontier of Germania Inferior in 120. However, it may have been only a detachment or vexillatio sent before or after the alleged tragedy. On the other hand, various inscriptions make it clear that some officers of the 9th had later successful careers as legates, governors, or consuls. It would have been difficult for them to attain such positions in the Roman world with the stigma of such a defeat on their record, even if they left the legion before the event. It is quite likely that the legion was sent to other conflicts, such as the rebellion of Simon Bar Kokhba in Judea between 132 and 135, where 7 legions were mobilized. Some of them suffered such heavy losses that they may have been disbanded by Hadrian, for in reporting to the Senate on the campaign, he omitted to begin with his usual phrase, "The legions and I are well." Nevertheless, what really happened to the 9th remains an unsolved mystery. The martyrdom of the Theban Legion. Its legend was born in 450, when the Bishop of Lyon identified some human remains in a mass grave as part of the martyrs who formed the Legio Augusta Thebaeorum, killed in Agaunum, now St. Maurice in Switzerland, in 286 as a punishment for disobeying orders. According to legend, the Theban Legion, which does not appear in military records but may have existed based on certain references, was composed entirely of Christians and was formed in Thebes, Egypt. It was composed of some 6,000 men under the command of Saint Maurice, and in 284 was transferred to Rome, and its men pledged to Pope Gaius to disobey any order contrary to their faith. The legion was sent to the Alps to assist the co-emperor Maximian, associated to the throne by Diocletian, to quell various revolts in a campaign in 286. Upon arrival at Agaunum, Maximian ordered the legion to persecute the local Christian citizens, the Bagaudas, and to offer sacrifices to the pagan Roman gods. The legionaries, true to their Christian faith, refused to obey both orders. As punishment, Maximian ordered every 10th man to be executed in a process known as decimatio, or decimation. Even after several decimations, the legion remained steadfast in its faith, leading Maximian to order the execution of all the remaining members of the legion. As for Saint Maurice, the cult of his person spread during the Middle Ages until he became the patron saint of the Holy Roman Empire. It was said that he brought from Jerusalem the spear of Longinus, which had been stuck in the side of Jesus by a Roman soldier according to the Gospel of John, and which the apocryphal Gospel of Nicodemus names as Longinus. The Holy Lance became part of the regalia or royal emblems used in the coronation of the sovereigns of the aforementioned empire. The story of this legion is more a legend than an actual event, as it was spread at a time when there were many stories of new martyrs to strengthen the faith, and knowing that the Romans never ordered the execution of an entire legion. Had they existed, the fate of the Theban Legion must have been different, but it still remains a mystery. Remember to subscribe, comment, and share the video. Leave your like and activate the notification bell if you want more stories like this one. We say goodbye until next time.